Hi everyone, this is Ron with NeoWin, and today we're taking a look at the Samsung Galaxy Note20 Ultra 5G and the Galaxy Buds Live. This will be a little note at the end, so I'll just set it off to the side for now. Let's focus on the start of the show here. I think everyone is familiar with the Galaxy Note 20 series by now. It's basically Samsung's ultimate phone. The idea, I think, is that if you can think of something your smartphone should do, or that you would want a smartphone to do, then this probably does it. It's got the flagship specs, the camera, the display, and of course the highlight of the Note series is the S Pen. That's what really sets it apart from something like the S series. And so this is the cream of the crop for this year. The Note 20 itself was actually kind of a mixed bag, but this, as everything you would expect from the Note series, this is an European configuration, so you got the Exynos 990 chipset inside. You got 12 GB of RAM and 256 GB of storage for the Mystic Bronze color, which is different from what you get in the United States version, because that one starts with 128 GB for the Mystic Bronze, and then it jumps directly to 512 if you get the black version. So we have this tier with 256 GB instead. And in Portugal, I believe this costs $13.49 or something like that. So it's actually a reasonable price. It's not what I would have expected, because Portuguese prices usually suck. But it's actually reasonable. So let's just open this up. The manuals get stuck in the top part of the box for some reason, but whatever. This little cardboard thing, the phone is right there. I have to say, this thing feels massive. I don't know, it feels so big. Let's just take a look at the rest of the box. Charger, 25 watts. Samsung calls it super fast charging. And I mean, it's good. 25 watts is pretty solid, but it's hard to be impressed by that when you've seen phones with like 65 watts. So nothing mind-blowing, but definitely fast enough. Here we have the charger. It is Type-C, the charging cable, I mean. It is Type-C to Type-C, which is very interesting. And here we have earbuds by AKJ, which is owned by Samsung, so not really a big difference there. And if I can take them out, which is a big if, there you go. You'll see that obviously they're wired, but they're braided, which is very interesting. Definitely makes it feel a bit more premium and like they care a bit more, so that's cool. So setting all of that to the side, let's just focus on the phone itself. And this is the Mystic Bronze color. Like I said, it looks beautiful. I have to say, it's really nice. It's very elegant, very classy. It's a really nice balance of like being subdued without being boring, I would say. It just feels nice. And touching it, it's super smooth. Like, this is a super smooth finish. It makes me think of satin. I think I saw someone else describe it as satin. And that's just been on my mind since then. It feels super smooth to move my finger across it. It's really nice. And the design as a whole, I guess this is sort of a trademark for Note phones, but it's the completely flat top and bottom here. They're so unique. They give the phone this very boxy look, but it's really elegant, and I think I kind of like it the way it looks that way. It's very different from what I'm used to. Then the sides here are super thin metal rails, which I think makes it even more strange how it's so big at the top, and then here it's just this super thin frame. But it's definitely unique, I would say, even though the general design isn't that different from most phones. Then we have this absolutely massive camera bump. This thing is huge. Look at that. And it's, I mean, if you put it down on the table, that's something. But the cameras themselves are on paper, they're good. So we got 108 megapixel primary camera with Samsung's pixel binning technology, which combines, I believe, 9 pixels into one, so you get 12 megapixel results at the end. Then a 12 megapixel wide angle camera and a 12 megapixel telephoto, which is actually a periscope lens. So it's got 5x optical zoom, 50x digital zoom. And I really like those setups where you can go from a wide angle to a telephoto and you just zoom in all the way. And you can see so much from the same place and then get so close. I think that's really a really cool effect. And the telephoto lens, being periscope, really helps with that. Usually normal telephotos are like 2x optical zoom. So that is very cool. But I don't know much about the quality itself. This is actually the first Samsung flagship I use, so I'll have to test that out. Of course, the big selling point of the Note phones is the S Pen, but I'll turn on the phone first and try to set it up so you can actually use the S Pen once it's on. So the display here is QHD, I believe 3044 by 1440. So it's taller than usual. I don't know what that makes the aspect ratio, but it's pretty tall. And high resolution is 120 hertz, but usually you have to choose. It's either 120 hertz at 1080p or 60 hertz at 1440p. But that's fine, I guess. It's just so you don't kill the phone that quickly. Anyways, let's change the language to English here, agree to all of this, let's just set it up. So one thing that's definitely annoying about this is that Samsung promotes a lot of stuff when you install it. They have their own services, their own ecosystem, and they also have partnerships with Microsoft. So there's a bunch of apps that they try to recommend here at the start. I'm not going to select most of them right now. I will actually, I'm just gonna not select any of them because I'm not gonna be using, I'm gonna reset the phone anyways later. So a bunch of Samsung stuff that they try to install. You can opt out of most of it there. So that's not a huge deal. And then they recommend a couple more. For some reason, they're separate because these are not related to Samsung, but they're seem to be just more recommended for your local market. So this is like Portuguese stuff that I'm also not going to install right now. So we'll just skip all of this. And then they want you to sign up to one of Samsung's accounts, which I'm also not going to do right now. I find this is annoying when they promote their own ecosystem on top of Android and everything Google offers, because a lot of the services are a duplicate. It's just adding more confusion in my opinion. I really don't love that, but it's whatever. They're not the only ones. Oppo does it too. LG, I think, might do it as well. So there's a lot of manufacturers that try to promote their own ecosystem like that. Not just Samsung, but I do think Samsung is probably the one that does it the most. Anyways, once you've set it up, the display is beautiful. Just looking at it, it's a really pretty display. I don't know if it's set to 1080p or not, but it's just a beautiful display. The colors look great. The resolution, yeah, this is full HD because it's set to 120 hertz. I am assuming. It doesn't actually say the refresh rate here, which is interesting. But yeah, even at 1080p, this is a beautiful display. Everything looks sharp. I've said many times that I really don't mind being at 1080p if you got good display scaling, which Samsung usually does, because I mean everything here looks, there's no elements that are too big for my liking. Everything looks fine. So the display is very nice. The colors look amazing. Usually when I have troubles with displays, it's in low light, so I will have to test that later. But right now it is a beautiful display. I don't think this image probably is the best thing Samsung could have chosen here. I think vibrant colors would have been more interesting. Oh, this is a video. No, whatever. Oh, that's just for the lock screen. Interesting. But it is a very, very nice display. I don't think the camera does a good job of taking that in, but this is beautiful. Anyways, in terms of the software experience, very much Samsung. Everything looks familiar. This is still in One UI 2.5. There is no update for One UI 3.0 and Android 11. This is still Android 10, but it's all very familiar. If you've used a Samsung phone before, I do remember using the Galaxy A51 earlier in the year, so everything here looks very similar, just everything's super smooth because of 120 Hz and the very high quality display here. A few things that are worth noting is Samsung Messages, for example, and other apps. Samsung has really been working hard on, well, not hard, but they've been working with Microsoft to integrate Samsung's experiences with the Your Phone app on Windows 10 and other Microsoft services. So a lot of things are now linked, and that's one of the big selling points for Samsung phones now is that if you use Samsung Notes, for example, the notes you take here, they're going to sync with OneNote and even Sticky Notes on Windows 10. So you can start things here, then you go to your computer, you open Sticky Notes or OneNote, and you can find the same notes there. Or if you want to, you can even just, I think this is in beta stages, but you can connect your phone to your PC, and then you can actually just run apps on your PC instead. Even in individual windows, that's something that's being added now, where you can just have apps open in individual windows, and you're not just seeing your phone's screen, you're just using the phone to power the app experience on your PC, and it's like you're running Android apps on your PC. It's really cool. So that's an advantage of that Samsung ecosystem, is that they get to make these partnerships with Microsoft and have those exclusive features that work way better than other Android phones. So that's definitely an advantage there. And also Samsung has its own ecosystem with the Galaxy Watch, for example, which I also have here. I'm going to do a video on that next. But for example, you can reply to messages on your Galaxy Watch, but that only really works with the Samsung Messages app. So if you're using Android messages, that wouldn't work, I don't think, at least. So it's part of that Samsung ecosystem to have those features enabled, which I think is really cool. I mean, it is interesting. It definitely makes it more justified to be in the Samsung ecosystem if you have a bunch of devices. Then you want to use Samsung's services so you can have the full experience. But whether that's cool or not is probably up for debate. But yes, that is a bit of the software. Let's just pull out the S Pen now and see what it's like. So there's a bunch of tutorials here about the air actions, because the pen, since the Note 10, I believe, since last year, you can actually use it. There's a bunch of wireless features. So if I press the pen button here, I don't think it's actually doing anything for some reason. Maybe it just doesn't support anything in the home screen. But, oh, there you go. So if you press and hold, it opens the camera, for example. So there's a bunch of wireless features now with the pen. And it has a battery because of that. That's why it's bigger and a bit thick. But it's really cool that you can use it like this now, because you can use it as a remote shutter, for example. If I press the pen button, it takes a picture. And this is cool if you want to like set your phone down somewhere further away to take like a group photo or something. You put it down, take the pen with you, just press the pen button and you take the picture. And that's pretty cool. But there's more to it. So obviously you can draw or take notes and stuff like that. You can take a screenshot and just annotate it with the pen. Like, this is the weather. I can't read that. How do you change the color on this? Okay. You can like annotate that. That's the weather widget. You can just like, whatever that's not an A, but whatever, you get it. So you can annotate the screen easily, or you can just actually take notes in Samsung Notes. And this is one of the new things that they've added now, is that if you write something with the pen, and then you can tap this button here and it'll recognize the text and convert it to actual text. So then you can take handwritten notes and they become searchable in your notes. And I think that's very cool. Actually, I'm not even sure you need to convert it. I think you might be able to write it and then search for the written text from the Notes app, and it'll just work. I believe that's possible. Let me try to perform a search here. So if I search for hi, that still shows up. So there you go. So it actually recognizes your handwriting and you can search for it now. That's a relatively new feature. I believe that was introduced with this phone, but it might have rolled out to previous versions now. But that's one cool thing that you can do with the S Pen now with the Samsung Notes app. And this should all sync to OneNote, and you can then see your notes there. All right, I don't know what's up, but I don't care. Okay, so that's one of the very cool things you can do with the S Pen. And of course, the gestures are very interesting. There's a lot of interesting things with the S Pen, and I really want to try it, see if I actually use it, because that's the thing. There's a lot of things that can be cool as gimmicks, and I feel like the pen has a lot of potential for being a sort of a gimmick that you end up not using a lot. But it's also got a lot of potential to be useful. So I wonder if in my review period I'm going to find it very useful. I'm really curious to see that. But yeah, that is a summary of what the phone offers. You can see there in the corner that as soon as you pull out the pen, it actually detects the connection. And because it's wireless now, it actually has a battery inside. And when you put it back in the phone, it charges in there. And that's one thing that I have to say I kind of admire with Samsung, is that this is a regular phone. It's got everything you could want it to. It's got the flagship specs, the cameras, the big battery. It's 4,500 milliamp hours. The display is very nice. Dual speakers. It's a solid, very good flagship phone, but they still find the room to put the pen in there and even the technology to charge it wirelessly. So it kind of have to admire the engineering that goes into making such a solid looking phone with all of that inside. That's still somewhat manageable. I mean, it's huge for sure, but I don't know. It's kind of impressive when you think about it. So that's something that I have to give Samsung credit for, even though this is ridiculously expensive. $13.49 for this for a phone. It's pretty crazy, but it's hard not to admire what they do. Now for the Galaxy Buds here, I actually don't have a lot of experience with earbuds, premium earbuds, I should say. I do have some Xiaomi earbuds, but these are super cheap. They're like $30. They're still truly wireless, and I kind of like them. And that's kind of the problem for me, that I'm happy with the cheap ones, so I don't really know what to expect out of these. But just looking at the case here, it's very adorably designed, and I believe this has it probably says here the battery capacity. So yeah, it's 500 milliamp hours for the case itself, and I'm thinking it says 120 here for the earbuds. I'm assuming that's 60 for each, and they promise up to 8 hours of listening time per earbud, and then 21 hours more from the case. They have active noise cancellation, so there's 2 mics on the outside and 1 on the inside. And there's actually also a voice pickup unit, which is what they call it. So it's supposed to help the earbuds recognize your voice, so you can use voice activation. They mentioned Bixby. I hope it works with Google Assistant. I doubt it though. Probably just Bixby, and you might need to use Touch or something to use Google Assistant. But yeah, noise cancellation is cool. I've never actually used it, so I hope it's cool. And then in terms of the design, I actually really like the way they look. It's this sort of bean shaped. I mean, people refer to them as the Galaxy Buds Bean before they were announced. And it's adorable. I just think it looks really cool. And the way it goes in your ear, it's pretty subdued. Like it doesn't stick out too much. And with my skin color, it actually doesn't stick out that much at all. I mean, it's glossy, so that makes it a bit more visible, but it's subtle enough. And that's really all I know I can expect from this, because like I said, I've never used premium wireless earbuds. So it's all up in the air right now. I don't know what to expect. They also have a game mode which is supposed to reduce latency with your phone. So if you're gaming and stuff, the sounds are more in sync, or even if you're watching a video or something, it might make a difference. They could also share audio. There's a feature that allows you to pass an earbud to someone else and make it so that you can listen to the same music. I believe that's how that works, without, the stereo effect, basically. They use touch controls, like most premium earbuds. Again, that's something I'm not familiar with, because the ones I have have a little button on them. But that's really all I can say. There's not a lot that I know about them. I haven't used them yet, obviously. And I'll just be reviewing them alongside the Galaxy Note. So I'll see what I think of them, but I don't really have any expectations in particular. I'll just have to see how they do. By the way, they don't have ear tips, because they just rest in at your ear, at the entrance to your ear. But there's a little part up here. This is replaceable, the wingtip. So you can take this out. There's another one here in this box where the charging cable was. And you can replace those. But that's really about it. I'm not sure what to expect, like I said. So I'll be reviewing these alongside the phone here. We'll have to see how that goes. But that's all for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. I'll see you guys next time.